Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And there's a green day on the board today. I think we'll happily take something like that. In yesterday's video, I put out a video on Sunday. We were talking about how there just hasn't been much to show in regards to signs of moving to the upside because nothing's up more than 10%. There was no early signs. Here we go. We've got several of them above 10%, some above 20, including the XRP price chart. So we'll take a look at the Ripple XRP price chart today, try to figure out what's going on over here. We'll talk about the Bitcoin price chart as well and how it's just stuck in a range. Talk about the complexities of what happens when things get stuck in ranges like this, and how really this is just one of these kind of moments that a lot of people have already been through in this market that have been around here for a long time, where we kind of just get stuck for a while and we go through consolidation time periods. We'll zoom in on XRP here real quick. And over the last week, we've been looking for 7 waves down, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's really positive to see that we've got that. So long as that we have that, for me and how I like to do things, that's good enough for me to say that the bottom is in. However, I'm not convinced that it completely is, due to the fact that we have our support level down here that was holding us down for so long, for 3 years, and we still haven't back tested it yet. So as for picking where the bottom is, or calling the bottom, I'm just not going to do it this time. I've done it many times, but this time around, I'm not going to do it because, well, if I see the picture really clearly, then I'll tell you that I see the picture really clearly. This is one of those times where things are a little bit more complex than they usually are. And as I discussed in yesterday's video, it ties a lot back to what's going on over here with Bitcoin. If you want to see a good example of how complex a range can be, Amazon's a really good example right up in here. So let me show you what we're doing up here in Amazon. Is that this has been going on for several years, looking for a full extension out on Amazon to take it all the way up to about $4,500. But as you can see, halfway up, it has found itself stuck in a crazy wild range, providing all the trickery that you could imagine, at one point creating a nice little pennant going on in here. Traders thinking, oh man, we got this under control, breaks out to the upside, then breaks back down to the downside, now breaking back up to the upside because, well, it's stuck in a range. I'm pretty grateful that we're not coming on here every day talking about the Amazon price chart because, well, it's been stuck in this range now for 286 days. But as we can see, it was after long-term consolidation for a couple of years, then a breakout to higher extensions to finally find its range, but still hasn't fully reached out all the way to target. And so as for Bitcoin, well, breaking out higher, not quite getting all the way to target, and building a range. And the thing we saw about the Amazon price chart just now is that when we get stuck in these ranges is how much trickery there can be to the upside, how much trickery there can be to the downside, and it just gets really, really difficult in these types of situations. So in yesterday's video, I provided the things that I'm looking for Bitcoin, right? Either we're going to break out up to the upside and just kind of head up here and then hit target, then, well, that's where I start getting real bearish and real uncomfortable with Bitcoin, because it's now reached the full target and it would match the previous fractals that took us up to this price level. Or we're seeing some type of back test that's going to come in after some ranging, and then it comes all the way back down in here, and then looking for a V bottom to pull our way out of there, right? And of course, if not that, then oh boy, are we looking at, the end of the bull run. Either way, in any of these situations, I still see further rise for the total altcoin market cap. In each of the previous seasons or in the previous cycles, we've seen that the altcoins do continue even after Bitcoin has topped. So the big question is, has Bitcoin topped or not? And that's hopefully we'll be able to see that clearly by the time it comes. But otherwise, we're looking for the altcoin market to continue marching its way up, right? If we're just going to be going out to, these targets here, we line this up so where all these fibs are matching just perfect, that gets you out to a market cap of a 1.775 trillion for the total altcoin market cap, which is just about double from where it's at right now. Now, for some people, they may be saying, oh, that just means that whatever I own is only going to double. Well, one of the things you have to take into account is that Ethereum makes up a large percentage of the total altcoin market cap. So a lot of it's going to depend on how much of this is going to be Ethereum playing a role, right? Is Ethereum going to top out at like $3,200, or is it going to $6,000? Which one is it going to be topping out at? And how much of the rest of the market is going to be swallowing this altcoin market cap? During this moment right in here, this 48% rise that happened right in here, we saw XRP rise several hundred percentage points, right? You do something like that again, right? You go up, nearly 100%, or about double of what we did last time. Well, if XRP went up like 600 or 700% from its current price, that gets you up to that $10 area, right? And And if we look at this at a more minuscule way, we can look at this from April 4th all the way until April 14th. XRP rose 245% in a matter of 10 days. Meanwhile, during that same time period, the total altcoin market cap rose 35 or 36%. So XRP went up 245%, while the altcoin market cap rose by 36%. So don't be so fooled by the actual percentages that we're seeing on here for the total altcoin market cap, because it's not reflective of what each asset will do. But if you want kind of an insight into why I'm thinking, okay, I've got to be looking for this Bitcoin top to be coming in at some point, it comes back to two things, right? Well, first of all, we know that we're reaching out to near the full Fibonacci extensions for Bitcoin, right? If it did a full 4.236 Fibonacci extension for Bitcoin, that gets you out to $72,000. We've gotten out to $65,000. We've seen in the previous cycles that after Bitcoin tops, the altcoin market does have one more push up, right? So the question comes, is this last push up going to be one big, huge push up, or is it going to be something like where we kind of grind up in here? This is the moment where Bitcoin tops, the altcoins pull back with it, and then as Bitcoin is in its retracement, the altcoins go on to set their final top, because we do see a delay of the altcoins versus Bitcoin, which you can see here when I overlay these together for Bitcoin topping back on December 16th of 2017, and then the altcoins go on to set their tops January 5th of 2018. So the big question comes in, has the top of Bitcoin already come in right now, and the altcoins are going to go on to do that final push up? Or is the whole market going to move up together, then Bitcoin tops, and then the altcoins go on to top their final top? So you can kind of get an idea why I'm looking so hard for a Bitcoin top to be coming in is because we're reaching out to full extensions on the Bitcoin price chart from a Fibonacci level, and we're reaching out to full extensions over here on the total altcoin market cap once it gets beyond here, right? Once we get beyond here, there's only two levels that remain left for the altcoin market. Could it go much higher and just keep on cranking up? Well, you better believe it could, right? But in my personal exit plans, as somebody who's been in this market for several years at this point and formulated a plan on how I'm going to play this and keep my emotions in check, there has to be this point where I take some money off of the table. And so right now it's all about finding that time where I'm going to pull 65% of my money out of this market. This is not a time where I'm throwing a bunch of money into this market. Throwing money into this market all took place back down in here in the craziness. Now it's all about finding places on when is the right time for me to start pulling it out. Because there's even the chance, like if the Bitcoin top is already in, how many times we've discussed using this rally prior to Bitcoin capitulating as being a point of reference for my 65% exits. Well, if we look at it here on the total altcoin market cap and we use the measurement from there just on the market cap right in here, how much further does that really have us going, right? Well, it shows us getting knocked off that level, and which would mean that it only actually would end up getting to 1.3 trillion. So figuring out whether or not Bitcoin is topping right now is really important for me to determine, well, wait a minute, is this last push the last push that we saw back in here as well? Now, as for the market cap, I don't view that to be as likely. I actually think it's more likely that we are doing it from further up in here because we have better Fibonacci matches, and it does have, based on our rally after coming off the bottom, it makes a little bit more sense right here that we are actually going to head all the way up to about 1.75 trillion. But I have to keep this in mind, and I'm not going to sit here and be stubborn on whether or not the market does what I want it to do. I have to adapt to what the market is doing. But one of those things that we talk about is like, let's say that this is it, right? And say that we are going based off that. Well, again, how much of that is really tied to Ethereum? Because as we can see, the rally prior to capitulation back at the end of 2018, Ethereum's almost out to target. It does not have much further to go to get there. And Ethereum comprises of nearly a quarter or more of the total altcoin market cap. So Binance has had a huge run, Ethereum has had a huge run, but not everything else has. So how much of this money is going to bleed further down the ranks? Which makes it kind of fun to go ahead and set up the total altcoin market cap minus the Ethereum market cap, and we can kind of see what's going on in here. And while we kind of get kind of a cool picture that's happening over here showing that the remaining altcoins outside of Ethereum still have quite a ways to go, right? If they were to get up to this 4.236 extension, we kind of look at what the previous bull run looked like. Look at where all these resistance levels came in. You can see how it grinded its way back up in here, then got to this exact same level to find some resistance, found some slop slop up in here, some more slop, and then, hey, it really just started cranking up. Hey, found resistance right in here, and well, here it is cranking up again even further, right? So still, the altcoin market looks really good to me. It looks like it's going to continue going up higher, but for me, someone who's been in this market for years, spent years studying, even years prior to when I came into the market, everything always tells me that Bitcoin is the place that we have to be studying. And as we reach these critical price levels, it's really important to keep our eye on it. But unfortunately, we're stuck in a range right now. We've seen even over here on Amazon how hectic these ranges can get once you get up in them, which in the end makes the short-term forecasting for XRP incredibly difficult because we still have our support level down here, which was a resistance that held us down for over 3 years. And when we look at what happened in the previous markets, it shows us pulling right back down to that level. So patience is the key for me right now. I haven't taken anything out of this market, right? If anything has ever been sold, it's only been rotated into something else. So all my money is still in this market. I just patiently wait for my opportunity to see that huge explosion happen in the altcoin market. And hopefully it just reaches out to all of my targets and I can execute my exit plans perfectly. But until then, patience is going to be the key. But if I could have my cake and eat it too and have this market play out exactly the way I would want it to play out, I would hope that Bitcoin would break up a little bit higher right now, get back up to this area, then have 1, 2, 3, and then at the same time, the altcoin market cap surges up with it, Bitcoin crashes, and during this ABC, we get our final run up in the altcoin, and this is where all exits are made. That would make things very simple, very clean, and very easy. If we start getting stuff where we start really dipping down and going into V bottoms and all this other kind of stuff, things start getting a little bit more complex. But if you want to cheer for the easiest thing and the clearest, cleanest thing we could get, it would be a move back up to the top and then 3 waves on top of it, followed by that. Otherwise, for XRP, nice to see some green on the board, but still expectations, I still have to keep them where, where they should be, and that the scary moment could still come. By all means, if it wants to surprise me and just start rallying much higher, go for it, right? I guess if we started seeing sort of a retracement and getting back up to that 702 price level, and if it wants to crank through $1.64, $1.65 and break up, by all means, go for it. But until then, I have to keep my expectations where they belong. And that's that, it's just meandering its way back down to the support level. But all right, that's going to wrap it up for this one. If Bitcoin's price kind of stays here in this range, we may have ourselves kind of a boring week unless we get a real big break to the up or to the downside. Otherwise, it's kind of just going to be that same messaging throughout the week. So long as Bitcoin is there between $47,000 and $55,000, we're still just stuck. And that's kind of part of being in these markets, right? The excitement happens really fast. Everybody gets real euphoric, and then we have kind of prolonged consolidation, and then that's what gives us that booster rocket fuel to be able to go on and do another move. So right now, we'll see how these things play out over the next coming days. Otherwise, I think yesterday's ridiculously long video mixed with today kind of gives you an idea on where my mind is at with what's going on with Bitcoin and with the altcoin market and with the Ripple XRP price chart. So all right, we'll wrap it up. If you guys would like, you could check out my website over here, bcbacker.com. This is my course. It's where I have a ton of educational videos on here where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs and the different altcoin market cycles or the alt seasons to tie them all together to show how they've happened, where they've happened. I talk about my personal exit plans, talk about rebalancing, percentages, mathematics, talk about setting up charts and trading view. You can check all of this out over here on my website, bcbacker.com. You could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.